Hey guys, cisbell here, jungler for Rage Sports, and this is actually my second vlog, and I wanted to go over a few things, mostly about like what solo queue really has in Team Fives. One of the biggest things is, in Team Fives, it's great to have, champions, stuff that you can do with each champion, understanding what each champion can do, what they can't do, what their importance is as their role, Um, Ultimately, what the jungler does is in Team Fives is supposed to really just peel for the carries, mostly the AD carry. Whether it be Maokai's ulti is a great one, Rek'Sai's knockup. I mean, you can peel for your carry in multiple different ways. One of them is actually peeling, and the other one is taking attention or just kind of having a presence on the enemy backline. So it's really important to understand that in ranked fives and ultimately to transfer that into solo queue because you can't really practice everything in fives. It also has to do with solo queue and it's just important in general. It's important to understand that you can't really be good at ranked fives without solo queuing. We actually had to drop our mid laner because of that very reason. He didn't solo queue that much. He did on his Smurf account, and it's just little iffy. Hard to say that like you're a great player if that's what you do if you don't solo queue. Um, in solo queue actually, I have been playing Lee Sin and Elise a lot, mostly Elise, and that's because she has so much presence in the solo queue. She has that stun. She has a lot of burst damage and all that stuff. And Lee Sin's also the same way. And what's nice about both of them is that they both can just walk into the enemy jungle, which is something that you're actually supposed to do a lot. You're supposed to have that presence in the jungle, put those deep wards in their jungle. The pixel bush and further, banana bush right outside of red bush or the red buff. Sorry, or the that bush between red buff and mid lane. That entrance to the jungle. That's always a great place. Or that other bush. Really the easiest way to do it is to keep wards, just right there, preferably on red side, especially if you're on the red base. It's easier to red that bot side jungle because, well, one, there are more bushes to like chill out by and that they will pass by and stuff like that. You can really just watch them on their way in there. And the other one is because that's your bot lane. And ultimately, you want to keep your bot lane safe, especially the way we play is, I kind of just camp top, help top, win lane. And by doing so, bot lane oftentimes gets focused because I'm top lane. So the enemy jungle either has to choose to counter gank me and maybe win that trade or put pressure on another lane. Bot lane's really really important, and most junglers will choose to just pressure bot lane. So it's nice to keep deep wards in there. Plus you can go in there skirmish them. You know where they are. It's all great. Um, Another great reason to ward that side is for dragon pressure. There's nothing better than having vision of the enemy team right before dragon or anything like that. And it all has to do with early game when you're jungling. You know, Depending on who you camp or who you get fed, who you get snowballed, top lane's a very great lane to snowball in solo queue and in fives because unless the jungler is like very aware of what's going on and has the ability to bring it back for that lane, top lane is, it's really decided in the first gank because after that, especially with everyone teleporting into lane, top lane, whether it be from double jungling or just taking a camp, teleport doesn't come up until, roughly 7 minutes and 15 seconds into the game. So if you can push someone out of lane before then, it's massive for your top lane and for your team ultimately because you don't have to worry about that lane so much anymore. Obviously, it's still great to check on that lane, but it's something you don't really have to worry about. Um, as far as jungling, items in the jungle right now, there is the you know OP Sata Devourer that's not necessarily OP anymore. It actually just got nerfed this patch. 518 just nerfed the Cinder Hulk. I mean not Cinder Hulk, not the Runeglaive either. The Devourer. It no longer does 60 damage on hit, but not just 50, which is not super big, but it's pretty big on champions like Master Yi, who benefits really greatly from that one hit. Um, but really it's between the three, the Runeglaive, Cinderhulk, and Warrior Enchant. And on Lee Sin, while it's nice to go Warrior Enchant, you do see the extra damage coming in the early game. And on Elise, you have that Runeglaive, or on Echo, you have Runeglaive. Anyone that benefits from that kind of extra AP damage and that Sheen proc, it's really strong, for the early game, stuff like that, and, mid game. But ultimately, I like Cinderhulk on pretty much every jungler because it scales you into the late game to some degree. You won't really feel that 10 flat armor pen and that, I think 25. I think they just, actually, I think it's 45 and they just made it 50 AD. Something like that. You feel that in the late game, but it's not significant on a champion like Lee Sin, who just provides utility and positioning, or the lack thereof, for the enemy team. He's mostly just utility tank late game, and I think Cinderhulk helps you out more with that, with the 40 base health that it gives, plus the extra percentage of your maximum health. And that's really something that's really overpowered, especially on Elise and Lee Sin, because what you can do is on Lee Sin, you take the Cinder Hulk enchant, and then from there you just go straight into your Black Cleaver, which gives you plenty of damage and armor pen, but it also gives you that extra health and cooldown reduction. And the health is really big, especially with the Cinder Hulk. Same thing on Elise, you take I take Ralai's second item on Elise after Cinderhulk, and it's not only do you still have the damage, obviously you're missing out on the Sheen proc, but you still have that damage, you still have the perma slow, and it gives you extra health, and then after that just go full tank for both Lee Sin and Elise. And Lee Sin's nice because you're supposed to buy Sightstone on Lee Sin, so you kind of just get that reason to have a Sightstone and put up offensive wards. And what's nice about putting up wards, having a Sightstone on the jungler, is that you have two Sightstones on your team. So one's for defensive and one's for, you know, offensive, aggressive wards, so you can see their jungler, not just make sure they're not in your jungle. And also when you're far ahead in the lane or in the game in general, you can just have both be offensive wards both in the jungle. Hey Anthony. Um, no worries. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Maybe the next vlog will be about rune page setups and whatnot, and what's OP, and maybe I'll throw in a jungle route. But thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy your time.